Welcome to the Tao of Our Understanding Recovery Podcast. In this podcast, we discuss mystical works of literature and how they relate to recovery. We hope you enjoy today's podcast episode.
Hello, this is Buddy C. Welcome to the Tao of Our Understanding Recovery Podcast. Today we have Brian and Drew and Lou and Oscar. Good to have you guys. Before we get to our verse today, which I really like, this is one that it's one of my favorites. I quote something out of this all the time. We're on page 73 of Thomas Merton's interpretation of the Chuang Tzu. The story is, how deep is the Tao? If you're new to the podcast, we talk about mostly Taoist stories and principles and literature, mostly the Tao Te Ching, but we venture off into other texts a little bit as well, and how that relates to mostly 12-step recovery. I think everyone that attends is in some form of 12-step recovery or Al-Anon, which is also a form of 12-step recovery. We like to begin with two things. One, I like to, from the group, have a synchronistic moment. When we start studying the Tao, one thing that the Tao really talks about is letting go and becoming the observer in life is a big part of this. The more awareness spiritually we have, I think the more that we see our part is to be in that place of rest, which is talked about in Christianity too. And oh, by the way, you don't have to be a Taoist for this to be of use to you. I still consider myself a Christian. I'm not a Taoist, but the Taoist thought that I see and the Taoist principles align so much with spirituality of all kinds. They just accents, it complements. It's not something that you have to take on as a religion, so to speak. I want to talk about first, though, our synchronistic moment. I've got one for today, and it's a really simple one. Last week, I slept later than I don't set an alarm clock, and I slept later than I've slept, and I don't know how long. I'm an early to bed, early to rise guy. And I woke up and I said, why in the world did I sleep so late? I looked at my calendar and I had to share my story that night at 10 p.m. to a West Coast group. I said, oh, okay, now I see why. Because I'm usually dozing off at 9:30. So things like that just line up beyond our control. I quit trying to figure those things out and just have gratitude and appreciation that it happens. All right, the resource and benefit I want to talk about today. I also like to talk about some benefit that we have available for you. If you go to buddyc.org, there's a number of things there. But the one I want to talk about today is Transitions Daily. If you go to transitionsdaily.org, you will see lots of different resources there. But the one that I want to talk about is the daily email and corresponding podcast that we have. Transitions Daily is a compilation of most of the daily AA readers, as Bill sees it, daily reflections, 24 hours, all these different readers that in one email, and it's free, and the email list is never marketed to or sold. And it's actually an online AA group with a private Facebook group by the same name, but we have members from all over the world that have read the daily email, and we publish that on the same day. So you can listen to someone read while you're reading it yourself. A lot of people use the podcast as well. I think right now, when we're recording this, Kate from Scotland, we're hearing her readings. We have AA members from all over the world reading this, so it's nice to hear someone read it from somewhere else in the world that we know is part of our fellowship. Take advantage of that if you'd like. I checked the numbers the other day. We're approaching 23,000 people that get that email every day. So it's used by a lot of folks. Hopefully it will be beneficial to you. Okay, today we are reading and discussing How Deep is the Tao. Drew, you want to read for us today?
Sure. My master said, Tao, how deep, how still its hiding place. Tao, how pure. Without this stillness, metal would not ring. Stone, when struck, would give no answer. The power of sound is in the metal, and Tao in all things. When they clash, they ring with Tao and are silent again. Who is there now to tell all things their places? The king of life goes his way free, inactive, unknown. He would blush to be in business. He keeps his deep roots down in the origin, down in the spring. His knowledge is enfolded in spirit, and he grows great, opens a great heart, a world's refuge. Without forethought, he comes out in majesty. Without plan, he goes his way, and all things follow him. This is the kingly man who rides above life. This one sees in the dark, hears where there is no sound. In the deep dark, he alone can see light. In soundlessness, he alone perceives music. He can go down into the lowest of low places and find people. He can stand in the highest of high places and see meaning. He is in contact with all beings. That which is not goes his way. That which moves is what he stands on. Great is small for him, long is short for him, and all his distances are near.
Thank you, Drew. This is talking about the king of life. Is how the he that's experiencing this is named or labeled. This is almost like the Tao promises, right? My master said. So this is a student that's hearing this, describing the Tao. How deep, how still, stillness, how pure. Then it talks about the Tao being in everything. Without this stillness, metal would not ring. Stone, when struck, would give no answer. The power of sound is in the metal and Tao in all things. So the power of all things is the Tao. When they clash, they ring with Tao and then are silent again. Who is there now to tell all things their places? He's referring to the Tao there, I believe. Now we get into the promises. I think the rest of this talks about a surrendered life, the results of a surrendered life, that spiritual awareness, that awakening that we have in, we see in the 12th step, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps. I believe these can be some of the results of that awakening. The king of life goes his way free, inactive, unknown. What? It looks like the king of life would be almost the opposite of that. He'd be free, but I want to be known. That's my pride and ego, right? It says here he would blush to be in business. That's how little ego is involved in his life. Blush to be in business. No ego involved. Then he keeps his roots deep down in the origin, down in the spring. His knowledge is enfolded in spirit, and he grows great, opens a great heart, a world's refuge. Without forethought, he comes out in majesty. Without plan, he goes his way. Listen to this one. Without plan, he goes his way, and all things follow him. This is the kingly man who rides above life. So it's almost like a pendulum. So he's at the apex of the pendulum above it, and life is swinging underneath him, but he's not caught up in the nausea of the swing. Yeah. Without plan, he goes his way, and all things follow him. Now, that's a total different way of thinking than what I used to have. I made a plan and I followed things. This is the opposite. Drew?
Yeah, the thing related to sobriety that reminds me of is trying to get other people to either get sober or at least start thinking about how alcohol or drugs or behaviors are affecting their lives. Trying to lead them out of it is not nearly as helpful as just leading a good sober life and letting people watch the calm and peace and ease that comes from that kind of life. That kind of humility is what draws me to staying on the sober path, watching how people live freely and easily, rather than people trying to get me to do something, trying to tell me, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that. I know I'm much less likely to do what somebody tells me to do than to actually see them do it and realize, hey, that might be a good thing for me to do.
Thank you, Drew. I was thinking too about all things follow him, acting my way into right thinking. My peace and joy follows me as a result of the actions I take. I pray and ask for peace. I'm not just given peace. Usually I'm given a situation where I have to choose love over fear. And as a result, the fruit of that's peace. Acceptance is a big part of that. We accept the situation as it is in this moment. We can experience peace no matter what situation we're in. It's not about the situation. It's about our acceptance and being in the moment. It's about being present, really.
I think it's in the big book, isn't it? Acceptance is the answer to all our problems.
Yeah, it is, Brian. Thank you. And I think it's there.
If not, it needs to be.
It is.
I'll send an email this afternoon.
Thank you. Send an email to Bill W and get that in there.
As per Buddy and I.
Yes. You can do Brian and Buddy, though. Don't put me first.
Okay. It was my idea.
It was, yeah. Make sure they know that. We all have these different ideas about what acceptance is, too. And acceptance is not approval or stopping effort to change things. That's not what we talk about when we talk about acceptance, or the way I perceive it. I perceive acceptance as a state of mind in this present moment, because until I'm accepting of what is in this moment, I can't see whether there's anything to change or not. It's impossible. If I'm off in the future and my fears driven me out, oh my God, what about this? What about this? What about this? I can never get to a place of stillness, which this is talking about. That's the first thing it talks about. First, it says the Tao is deep, and then it addresses stillness. And it looks like this kingly person sounds like they're pretty still. And without a plan, I don't think that means that if I'm starting a business, it doesn't mean I don't create some kind of a path and an outline of how to structure. I think it's talking about a selfish agenda, an agenda arising from my ego that I'm pushing. If I'm pushing that, things are not following me. Brian?
I was thinking about I'm bad about when I do something like that. I think this is what I'm going to do, and these are going to be the results. And then when I get those results, then I'm going to be able to do this, and then buy this, and it just, instead I need to say, I'm going to take the next right indicated step, and each step is on the path, and I just need to take all this future casting out of my mind and worry about today or even this hour. I had a situation the other day. I've got a good size order coming up from a company, and they don't need it until the end of November. And immediately I started planning, when I get this, and then it'll probably be January before I get paid for it into January. And immediately I'm throwing a marker out there of what I'm going to do. And I just said, and I have most of this thing done. It's something that I keep in stock for this customer. And I just had to back myself off that and say, you know what, this is good, but I just need to let go of this and let it be and deal with it when it comes. Not count my chickens before my eggs hatch.
That's a good one, Brian. Thank you. Yeah. There's nothing wrong. Personally, I don't think there's anything wrong with, okay, I've got this order coming up. It's going to fill, it's going to make me X number of dollars. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
But it's different just planning in that way
Mm-hmm.
and not investing in these expectations where we think our peace and joy is going to depend on that happening. And if it happens, fine. If it doesn't, fine. If you can have that attitude, I don't think there's anything wrong with planning, but very few of us can do that.
Yeah. Immediately I started saying, I hope I'm busy up until that point.
There you go. And you're so much out of the moment, you're missing what's going on right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And it'll probably be one of those situations where I'll have nothing going on and then I'll get that money and then it'll just wash through my fingers. Instead of me being able to put it in my bag and hold it and say, this is mine.
Things arise and she lets them come. Things disappear and she lets them go. She has but doesn't possess, acts but doesn't expect. That's what you're talking about, Brian. This is quoted this the other day. Art used this quote. This is verse 2, Stephen Mitchell, the Tao Te Ching. She acts but doesn't expect. When her work is done, she forgets it. This is why it lasts forever, because she forgets it. Mr.
Turns it over and realizes it's already okay.
Yeah.
And just leaves it in motion.
Like shooting a bow and arrow, shooting a bow. Once you release that arrow, you can't go out and grab it and change the direction it's going. You have to let it go. Oscar?
I think it's really beautiful, and I'm really grateful that I entered the 12-step program to find this peace. There is so much similarities I read in this verse we read here with the way of living in a 12-step program. And one of the things you were talking about, and resonates also with me, is that I just try to do the thing that is in front of me as good as possible without any illusion that I have something to say about the outcome of it. So I'm not the outcome. I'm not responsible for it. I'm not concerning about. I don't worry about it. I just do what needs to be done, and this is as well in my work. When my workday is evolving, I do everything what needs to be done as good as possible with the attention, with love, with care. I try to do the same thing with people I meet. If I meet them in the street or in a shop or in a meeting, it doesn't really matter or responsive. I just do it as good as possible, as good as I can in this moment, in the moment there is. And I try to worry as less as possible about the outcome. And then I can feel harmony with the silence or the peace or the present moment or consciousness or Tao or God. It's just different words for the same thing in this process. And then I enter a world of peace, which I never knew it existed. I didn't know. I was always hunting for happiness, hunting for happiness by doing things, planning things. This needs to be this and this. And it was always stressful and never satisfying, only for short moments, but really short. And then the next thing came up and I have to go. And as well as the 12-step program, as the connection with Taoist literature made me see that I can go just on this flow. I can live in this harmony without thinking, or it's not that I don't think. I have my work and I plan and I have meetings and this and that, but when I do it just moment by moment, it unfolds itself, and then things will follow, whatever they are. And I, I'm not the one to judge about the outcomes. So there is also very huge letting go of judgment, which is a kind of miracle to discover and to practice, because that's really a practice. Because I think we live in a dream of judgment, and we are judging all day long. And my day needs to be good, and my wife needs to behave like this, and so it's in the smallest things. But when I remind myself of, okay, there's only one goal now in my life, and that's inner peace. Because when I find inner peace, I will not use crack cocaine or alcohol or whatever. And I won't do crazy shit. The main purpose is staying sober and helping other people finding the same freedom. And for this, I need this inner peace. And for this inner peace, to get to this inner peace, it's a really huge to let go of judgments and to think of everything. Would it be good or would it not be good? Will it take? It's all this craziness. It's madness. I lived in madness. Yeah, and when we read this, I just feel grateful to be with you and to listen to you and to hear this. And I think, wow, I'm sitting here in the Netherlands at 3 in the afternoon, and you in the other side of the world at 8 in the morning or something like that. And we all have the same present moment. It's just here. Beautiful. Thanks.
Thank you, Oscar. And the inner peace you're talking about, Oscar, I think that's a fruit of this surrendered life. It just happens. And what I see outwardly is joy. You can't see peace outwardly. They might be calm. You might see some stillness, but the way peace is seen in my life, I think, is through joy. So that's like a 3-tiered waterfall. You've got the first tier, which would be the awakening, the acceptance, the letting go. Second tier, when that fills, that would give us our peace. And when that's full, we would get our joy.
Yeah, I agree with that one.
Yeah.
It's a semantic thing, but I know it started with the courage to search for help and to accept that I'm powerless. So that I really needed the courage. And when I had the courage, then the spiritually it started to open up and to grow. And from courage came acceptance, and from acceptance, thankfulness, and from thankfulness, forgiveness. And then we are somewhere in joy or love or somewhere in these realms. And that's inner peace is inner peace is without an opposite. There's not an opposite of it. It's there. Only I can fuzz it up, or I can make a mess of it, or I can make clouds in myself so I don't see my inner peace anymore. But I know it's always there. The same as the present moment is always there, and consciousness is always there. And the Tao is in all things, so it's always there. And God is everything or nothing, so it's always there. Only my head messes up, and I have this strange disease that says I don't have a disease and I can do this and this and this, and then I'm lost because of greed and jealousy and anger and worries and fear and desire. It's all messed up. I just have to let go all the time.
Yeah, that's all you got to do, Oscar. Just let go.
It's a beautiful process. It's a beautiful process.
Yeah, one thing that really, I'm sorry.
No, I was just laughing.
One thing that really helps me is if I'm struggling to accept something or I'm worrying over something, to substitute in the steps alcohol for whatever that is. That helps me to let go. No matter what it is, I can go through. I'm powerless over whatever. I believe there's sanity. I believe I can have sane thinking toward whatever. I turn my will and my life concerning blank. I let go. I surrender it to you, ever how you phrase that. Have I made, or what fears am I experiencing in regards to this? That's 4.
Yes, that's the second part of the 12th step. So in all our affairs,
Exactly.
and that's it. I think I
Yeah.
try to do the same. Yeah.
Yeah, Oscar, and you can go on through, do a 5th step if you've got things there. Then take 6 and 7 and start applying the tools that we learned to those fears, and you'll notice your resentments and what amends that you see you need to make. Then you make is there any amends I need to make in regards to the business or whatever it is that I'm having problems accepting? Then you start doing it on an ongoing basis. And then you start using some of the tools like page 84, where you, in the big book, asking God to remove it, make an amend quickly if you need to, tell someone about it, turn your thoughts to someone you can help. You can do all that in about, 30 seconds. And then you do it every time you think about it. Then there's other tools you can use. My 2 that I like, I don't like them, but they work. I really dislike them. Thank you for everything. I have no complaint whatsoever. And I would not change blank even if I could. Those give me peace when I'm in those situations. Even in extreme cases, probably folks said, yeah, when my son was sick and passed, I used those and found peace in the middle of a very difficult situation. So I know from personal experience that it works. Okay, let's move on to the second paragraph. And these are really more the promises here. I like this. This one, talking about the king of life, sees in the dark, hears where there is no sound. In the deep dark, he alone sees. In soundlessness, he alone perceives music. He can go down into the lowest of the low places and find people. He can stand in the highest of high places and see meaning. He is in contact with all being. There's that oneness. A question I can ask myself is, can I find gratitude in this? That gets me towards seeing meaning in things that others see no meaning in. And it's so counterintuitive. That alone, that question, when I'm in a situation that is unacceptable, okay, my son's sick and dying. How can I find gratitude in this? I'm not grateful for him being sick and dying, but how about some of the other things that's going along with this? I had an opportunity to make amends with a ex-wife and her family, living amends during all that. That's something I was grateful for because I was able to do some things for them that I have not been able to do. I had an opportunity to really grow my acceptance through that situation. I'm grateful for that because I use that in everything now. It's much easier for me to accept situations, good and bad. We're not just talking about bad situations. We have to accept the good too. How do I know I'm not accepting? I have expectations attached and I get disappointed when things aren't working out my way. That tells me I'm not in acceptance. Disappointment equates for me to expectations. Control does too. I love these next couple of phrases. That which is not goes his way. Does he change anything to make it happen? No, what does his way mean? It means it's exactly what he needs. Doesn't mean good or bad. In my thinking, goes his way. We don't know what his way even means. Do I know what I need or not? I have no clue as to what's good or bad for me. You can read about all these lottery winners, and there's very few that that are pleased that they won the lottery over time, and many file bankruptcy. Of course, we would think, oh, I wouldn't do that. I'm different. We don't know what's good or bad for us. This is the one that I quote a lot. That which moves is what he stands on. He stands on what's already moving. That comes from the stillness, because if I'm moving and fussing and going and not still, I can't see what's moving if I'm not still. Much more difficult. Great is small for him, long is short for him, and all his distances are near. It's near because he's not caught up in self. He's walking this path of virtue. Well, I experienced that stillness many times. If I have a situation that I feel I need to make a decision about, I'll sit with that in meditation. I will put off making a decision as long as humanly possible if I'm not confident I know what decision to make. I'll use the phrase, I'm powerless over blank. I may say, I have no idea what my decision is here, if there is a decision for me to make. Maybe making no decision is the best decision. That's much more often than it used to be. I used to think I had to be involved in everything. I don't. That stillness that comes with working the steps in my life, we find and see that spiritual solution. What's the phrase from the big book? If we take care of the spiritual malady, the mental and physical takes care of itself, something to that effect. Page 64. When the spiritual maladies overcome, we straighten out mentally and physically. So wherever problem staying sober, let's take care of the spiritual malady, and the rest will take care of itself.
That's that inside work.
Yeah, Brian, a massage is good and it makes me feel good, but if I'm not taking care of the spiritual malady, the spiritual portion of this, I can have all the massages I want and they're not going to help me.
Yeah. And if you're really tense, it can make you feel worse afterwards.
Yeah.
I had a guy make that comment to me early on that it's all an inside job. And I thought, what in the hell are you talking about? Yeah, I was pretty sick.
Well, all this is so foreign to us.
Right? Yeah. Or better yet, man, I get you. If I just had XYZ, my insides would be fine.
Yes.
Because that would fix Brian.
We all know that's not the case.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I realized one day. If I have no peace or I'm disturbed inside, why would I not think the solution was not inside too? I automatically look outward and said, oh, that will fix something outside, will fix something inside. Getting this, doing that, this accomplishment, whatever, will fix me, will make me feel better. I may have it may feel a little better for a while, but I'll notice that, hey, this angst or whatever it is didn't leave whenever I accomplished whatever I thought was going to do this. I've never had that work, not long term at all. I do have one quote I want to add before we go. It's out of the Wensa from verse 115. What we call the way has no front or back, no left or right. All things are mysteriously the same, with no right and no wrong. All things are mysteriously the same. I think that when we start, that's why great is small, long, short, and all distances are near, is because it's all the same. It's all mysteriously the same. He's applying no judgment to what's going on. When I hurt you, what am I doing? I'm really hurting me. It's all the same. Thank you, guys. Well, there's nothing else. You guys have a great week. Hope to see you next week. Thank you. Hello, this is Buddy C. I wanted to make you aware of several recovery-related resources that I've posted in the episode description. These resources include a list of recovery podcasts, a free sober meditation app, daily recovery email, shared Google recovery calendars. Hope you put some of these resources to use and have a great week.
Thank you for listening to the Tao of Our Understanding Recovery Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends in recovery.